Um, just remember that you're going to keep your chat on topic, and that if you do have your webcam on, the main purpose of your webcam is just so that you can raise your hand instead of maybe having to type into the chat for your answers. And then make sure that you're in a quiet room. Usually alone would work best to make sure that there's no background noise. Okay. All right. So today we have spent some time already breaking down our world-class outcomes into easier things for us to understand. And I'm just going to let you know that today we're going to be focusing a lot on this second world-class outcome. That's really where our work is going to lie today, forming decisions and how they might affect others around you. Okay. All right, here we go. So as you can see, I've already got some things filled into our food label chart, and that was from the class that was right before you. But all of you should have finished your pantry search. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me just pull up an example, because we can start with Tyler's example because he actually shared it with me. All right, sorry, it's taking a minute. Okay, where's Tyler's email? There it is. Okay. So all of you were supposed to find two foods that were just your favorite foods, and then two foods that you thought were healthy. Okay. And it didn't matter if they were good for you or not. So it looks like Tyler did pizza, Chef Boyardee, spaghetti and meatballs, stir fry vegetables, and then tilapia fillets. And that's a type of fish for anybody who's wondering. So I'm just going to take maybe one example from each kiddo who completed this, maybe one example of a not so healthy food, and then an example of a healthy one. So Tyler, what would you like me to choose? Would you like me to do the pizza or the tilapia or what?
Tilapia.
Okay. Tilapia. And do you have it in front of you? How many calorie? Or, I'm sorry, what was the serving size?
It was one piece.
Okay. So basically, like one piece of fish. Jaden, go ahead and turn off your webcam for now. We don't really need it on at this point. One piece of fish would be about the size of the palm of your hand. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. And how many calories?
Let me go. Let me open this real quick.
I know I have to like flip back and forth, so I can flip back and forth though. 110. All right, let me just. So that's
Alright, the
much.
tilapia had 110 calories.
Okay, and total fat,
2 grams.
so very low. Okay, and what about saturated fat?
Um, what was it? It's 1 gram.
Okay, and carbs,
0.
zero. Yep, and that's typical of a meat. They don't have a lot of carbohydrates in it.
Unless
Protein.
something's added.
And let's see, I'll just click back. Protein was 23 grams. That's huge. And then we had a lot of vitamin. Well, no. Okay.
None.
So I know that it does have vitamins in it. It's a pretty good fish for you. So just kind of keep that in mind. We don't have to
Yeah.
necessarily fill that in.
Yeah, I didn't say it on the package though, so
Yeah, that's fine. I could just tell you. I'm sure that it has some iron and probably some magnesium. So those are
yeah.
two things that you're going to find in a lot of the different meats.
Yeah, my mom wasn't sure if we should just put just what vitamins are or like everything.
Well, I mean, we don't want to necessarily put everything, or this column would just be huge, but we have a general idea. So,
Yeah, that's what we thought because the Chef RD had like so much of everything.
yeah, exactly. Just the main ones. So which one do you want to do next? You want to do your Chef Boyardee?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if I'm spelling this right, but whatever, I'll go back to that. And are we talking about 1 can is the serving size, or what is the serving size? Let's look.
It should be 1 can.
Oh, actually, it looks like it's 1 cup. So 1 cup is less than a can. So only 1 cup, and it was 260 calories. And then we had 11 grams of total fat, and 3.5 of them were saturated, which is kind of a lot. Remember, saturated fat is the not good fat. 31 grams of carbohydrates. Okay. Oh, you think I would be able to remember. How much protein? We had 9 grams. And we had a little bit of vitamin A. So, all right. Oops. That does not have an E on the end. Okay, vitamin A. All right. Do I have another volunteer to share one or two foods that they looked up?
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead.
So, for the first one, it's Totino's Party Pizza.
Okay. So a frozen pizza, basically. It's Totino's. Okay. All right.
The serving size is half a pizza.
Okay.
There's 360 calories,
All right.
19 total fat,
Okay.
5 in saturated fat,
Saturated fat. Mm-hmm.
35 carbohydrates,
Wow. That's kind of a lot. Okay.
12 grams of protein,
All right.
and 6% of vitamin A.
Okay. So we got some vitamin A again. All right. Perfect. And now I'm thinking that's probably one of your favorite foods. Do you want to share a food that you thought maybe would be a healthy food?
Canned peaches.
Okay. Oops. All right.
The serving size is half cup,
Okay. So that's a pretty good amount. All right.
70 calories,
Good. Mm-hmm.
0 fat,
Okay.
17 carbohydrates,
All right.
0 protein,
Okay.
6% of vitamin A, and 2% of vitamin C.
All right. Oops. I did not mean to push that. All right. And vitamin C, 2%. Okay. So a little bit better. And really, we can spend all day filling in, this chart with a bunch of different foods. But I mean, it's really easy to just glance at it and take a look at specifically serving size, calories, total fat, and saturated fat. Remember, saturated fat is the bad type. So let's just go down here to the Chef Boyardee example. It has 11 grams of total fat. 3.5 of those are the bad kind. So that's kind of a lot. We're going to spend some time calculating percentages here pretty soon. So we're going to find out what percentage that is of your total fat. And that's kind of, like I said, it's kind of high. You could just kind of eyeball it and see. This frozen pizza example too, that's a lot of fat. And then a lot of that is saturated. Also, taking a look at the serving sizes, these little frozen pizzas are kind of small and they're pretty thin. If you eat half of it, which is really easy to do, you already have 360 calories. That's quite a bit. Okay. It's not, I mean, when you're thinking about how many calorie needs you need per day, and remember, none of you are adults, so you don't need that 2,000 calories. And in fact, that leads me to my next thing that I want to show you. I've linked, and after class, I want you to go and do your own thing with the calculator to find out your specific needs. It will ask you a couple questions like how old you are, if you're a boy or a girl, and if you're active or not. This is just a quick and easy chart. and we'll just look at it. I have to zoom in several times because it's kind of small. And you can kind of get an idea in your head on how many calories you might need per day. So this means that you are not active. This means that you're kind of active, like you exercise a little. Oh, it's not even showing it. Sorry. It's taken a while to catch up. And this means that you exercise quite a bit if you're in this last column, okay? So now what you need to do is you need to find, well, if you're a female, and then you find your age range, and then you trace it over depending on how active you are. Likewise, if you're a male, you find your age range. Why is that coming up? I don't want that. Go away. And then you know, depending on if you're inactive, a little active, or really active, you can kind of trace it over. So most of you guys, unless, well, I don't know, I guess if you are like maybe 11 years old and a male and super active, you actually could hit that 2,000 calorie limit per day, and that's not uncalled for. But a lot of you are, you know, maybe a little younger or not as active. This means like you're super active, like you're working out like a lot every day. Okay. All right. So just kind of keep that in mind because it's different for all of us. I mean, really. All right. Let's see where Mrs. Bruns goes. All right. So I'm in this category. I am moderately active, so I need 2,000 calories. So all of those percentages that you see on labels, let me just show you an example. Works perfectly for me. All of these percentages of the daily value, it's taken a minute to come up, sorry. All fit my needs perfectly. So this is based on a 2,000 calorie diet per day. But all of you who are under 2,000 calories, you would not be getting 13% of your potassium needs with this particular glass of orange juice. You'd be getting more like 20% or something higher of your daily needs. Your total carbohydrates, you would not be getting 9%. You'd be getting more than that if you need less than 2,000 calories a day. Does that make sense? Type a happy face into the chat if that makes sense to you. Okay. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at these labels, that your percentages, if you do the same serving size that it's talking about, 8 fluid ounces, for instance, is 1 cup, like 1 glass, you're going to be getting more than what you see listed, okay? All right, so we're going to go back to our agenda because I don't want to spend too much time on that. I just want you to know that later on you can go and find your specific needs on this calculator. Sorry, I'll give it a second to catch up. There we go. All right, so we have a couple more things to do before we get into the tough stuff. Nutrition is more than just counting calories. All of these foods fall somewhere in the food pyramid. And some of these foods actually fall into several categories of the food pyramid. So I'm just going to show you how much of each type of food you need every day. Okay. All right. So let me zoom in so this is a little bigger. Okay. Whoa. Darn it. There we go.
Look at the new pyramid. It is made up of brightly colored bars. Each colored bar stands for a different food group.
All right, let's do a little bit of guessing. Anybody want to guess what the orange stripe stands for? Like how much? Okay, good, Clara. Very good. We already have a guess.
Grains are foods like cereal, bread, spaghetti, rice, and crackers. Grains give you energy. Try to make half of your servings whole grains. You can tell if something is a whole grain because the name usually has the word whole in it.
Okay, so it looks like grains is what you should get the second most of per day. It looks like there's one category that would be bigger. Anybody want to guess what the green category might stand for? Yeah, you got it.
Vegetables are foods like broccoli, carrots, green beans, potatoes, spinach, and corn. You should try to eat at least one dark green vegetable or one orange vegetable each day.
Whew, lots of veggies. That's a pretty big stripe. Darn it. What about red? What do you think? Yep, you're right.
Some fruits are apples, pears, cantaloupe melon, watermelon, grapes, and blueberries. Fruits are a tasty snack to eat every day.
Okay, notice how he said snack too. He probably is saying that because fruit does have a lot of sugar in it. All right, this one is probably very easy. We don't need very much of it. What do you think the yellow stripe stands for?
Oils.
Yeah,
The
good.
yellow bar is the smallest. That one stands for oils. You only need a small amount of fats and oils each day. Get your oils from healthy choices like fish, nuts, and vegetable oils.
Oh yeah.
Some fruit,
Ah,
the yellow bar is
sorry.
the
And
milk group
there we
includes
go.
foods like milk, yogurt, cheese, ice cream, and pudding.
Yeah.
Foods from the milk group have calcium, which helps to grow strong bones and healthy teeth.
Okay. Well, I kind of ruined that surprise for you, but and then the purple group, not quite as big. What do you think? That's right, Clara. It would be
The
protein.
meats and
Good.
beans group includes foods like hamburgers, chicken, fish, eggs, beans, and nuts. Try to eat leaner, less fatty meats.
All right.
Did you notice the steps on the side of the pyramid?
Yes, we did.
The steps stand for the physical activity you need every day. You need to get moving and exercise for at least 60 minutes each day.
Okay. So that would make you fall at least into that moderate to moderately active group. 60 minutes each day, that's kind of like what you should be striving for. If you do more than 60 minutes every day, that's going to get you into that very active category. Okay. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that all of these different foods fall somewhere on that in that food pyramid as well. So you don't necessarily only have to worry about calories. You got to make sure that you're getting a variety of different foods. So it's kind of a lot to think about. Um, yeah. So, I mean, really, you can sit there and get your, let's just say that you need 1,500 calories a day. You can get all of your 1,500 calories from nachos, but it's not going to be actually good for you. Okay. You're going to need to vary it up a little bit and get all of those different groups represented. Okay. Are we ready for something a little bit harder?
Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to watch a short little video on percent, and then we are going to spend some time calculating percents. So, like I was talking about earlier, let's just look at this example of nuts right here. If I have 2 grams out of 14 total that is saturated fat, we want to find out what maybe percent that is. So we'll spend a little time doing that. Okay. But let's get some background knowledge on what percent is and how to calculate it, and then we'll practice. This is something that a lot of 6th graders are doing. If you are a 5th grader, it might be a little harder for you, but I think you can hang in there.
Sure is nice to be doing nothing. What's this? A schedule? Well, I sort of wanted to relax. Dear Tim and Moby, how do I find percents? From Wally. Again, I was pretty sure we were supposed to be on vacation here. You're right. A percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. The word percent means hundredths or parts per 100. I'd sort of like to find out what percent of our day will be used up doing all these activities. According to Moby, we'll be up at 6 a.m. and in bed at 10 p.m. That leaves us with 16 hours of awake time. Let's see. It says here we're supposed to fish from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. That's 3 hours, so the fishing part of our day can be expressed as 3/16. That's 3 hours of fishing out of 16 hours that we're awake. Now I can think of 3 different ways to make 3/16 into a percent. Let's try the first way, setting up a
Okay. Does anybody have piece of paper and a pencil near you? You should probably practice along. There are 3 different ways to find out what this percent equals. All right, so hopefully you have something that you can grab and you can kind of practice as we go through this.
proportion. 3/16 equals x 100ths. See, here we're comparing the 2 ratios. If 16 were equivalent to 100, then what would 3 equal? To solve the proportion, we use a trick called multiplying cross products.
Or cross multiply.
We make these cross products equal to each other, then solve the equation. X equals 18.75. And 18.75 over 100 is the same as saying 18.75%. So 18.75% of our awake time will be spent fishing. Right. Moby says that 25% of our day should be devoted to hiking. We could set up a proportion again, but let's try a different method. 25% equals 25 100ths, which is also equal to 0.25. We can multiply 0.25 by 16 to find 25% of 16. And 0.25 times 16 hours equals 4 hours. That's 4 hours of hiking. From 5 to 6 p.m., we're swimming. You got it. 1 hour of swimming out of 16 hours total is 1/16. The third way to find percents is to convert ratios to their decimal form. And 1/16 in decimal form is 0.0625. We multiply that decimal by 100 to convert it to a percentage, and that's 6.25% of our day. That's 3 different ways to work with percentages. Depending on the information you have, one way may be better than the others. It's up to you to decide. Oh, believe me, I was getting to that. Let's calculate the amount of free time that's left over. We can add up all the percents we found. 25% plus 6.25% plus 18.75% equals 50%. And we subtract that from our total of 100%, and we'll have 50% of our day left over for free time. That's me doing absolutely nothing. That's 8 hours, by the way, 50% of 16. This could work. Basket weaving, canoe building, hula dancing. I don't dance.
Oh, Moby, you are just so funny. Okay. All right. So now we have a little bit of background information on percentages. Okay. So let's go ahead and do a little practice. This is going to look kind of weird. I have to pull up 2 different screens in order to show everything I want to show. Definitely wasn't what I wanted. There we go. Ah, somebody's at my door. Sorry, guys. Oh, okay. Hold on, guys. I'm really, really sorry. Okay, hold on. All right, thank you. Bruns. Thanks. Okay, sorry about that. My 5th and 6th graders. That's wow. Bad timing for a delivery, huh? Okay. Okay, so here's what we were going to do. We were going to practice with some percents. So let's take a minute to pull up. All right, so this is a question right here. It says, what is 62.5% of 48? So we could just kind of pretend that we're talking about food or one of those, food groups. So maybe what is 62.5% of 48 grams of fat? Okay, so just kind of pretend that we're, still talking about food. So here we go. You can set this up, and I think it's easiest, and some of you might disagree, But I think it's easiest to do part over, I need to draw like a line, over the whole. So here would be our example, how I would set it up. Okay, Kat, you need to move. Okay, n or x, whatever you want to use, over 48 equals 62, and I could just say 0.5, that's fine, percent over 100. Okay, so just keep this in mind. Whenever you are talking about percents, it is a number out of 100. Okay, so you can say 25 out of 100 equals 25%. What we're looking at right here is 62.5%. Okay, so now we had to cross multiply. Okay, so you're going to multiply 48 times 62.5. And then you're going to multiply n times 100, which is really simple because it comes out to be 100n equals. Now I want you guys to, hopefully you have some scratch paper, go ahead and work out this problem. What is 62.5 times 48? Your phone's not charged yet. It'll take you a couple minutes. I told you. And that's okay. Mine was plugged in. So you can say 60. This takes me forever to do with this particular pen, so. All right, looks like Tyler V's got an answer for us. Everybody else just kind of keep working. This takes me a minute, but I'll start showing it on the screen here. Okay. Okay, we can do 16 plus 20. 50. Add your 0. Get rid of these. Okay. So hopefully you are working this out or at least following along with what I'm doing on the screen. Lots of clicking. All right, so I have my numbers and now I need to know where to insert my decimal point. There is 1 digit after the decimal in the problem, so there should be 1 digit after the decimal in my answer, so I put it right there. And my answer would be 3,000. Okay, so you were just a little off, Tyler, but that's okay. All right, so far I have done my cross multiplication, and I am trying to figure out what 62.5% of 48 is, okay? All right, so I'm at this step. I've done my multiplication here. I've done my multiplication here. So now I have 100n equals 3,000. To get rid of this 100 and make it just say n equals and have your answer, you divide. Because 100 divided by 100, well, it goes away. All right. So n equals, what is 3,000 divided by 100? Go ahead and type that into the chat. Should be really simple. Here's a little hint for you. Hopefully you don't have to write this down, but when you're doing a division problem like this where they share zeros, cross out the zeros that they share. And what is 30 divided by 1, everybody? 30. Okay. See, it's kind of tough, don't worry. I mean, percentages are kind of a new topic for you guys. All right, that's right. So I have a lot of people who said that my answer would be 30. So what is 62.5% of 48? 30. Yay! All right, type into the chat a happy face if that made even a small amount of sense to you. And you'd like to try another one. Okay, good. We'll get a new blank piece of paper, or screen, I should say. And now we have 12.5% of 88. So let's just pretend that we're, talking about one of our food charts. And we want to know like what 12.5% of 88 calories is. Something like that. All right, so we'll set it up the exact same way. Oops, I did not mean to use arrows. Sorry, I need to go to my pen. N over what do we know? We know that there's 88 equals, and then remember anything that is a percent is out of 100, so 12.5% over 100. Okay, so we're going to do the exact same thing that we did on the last problem where we cross multiply. This one's easy. We have 100n equals. Now I want you guys to work out what is 88 times 12.5. Very good, Tyler. I'll give everybody just a second to catch up a little bit. I'll start showing it on the screen. Luckily, it takes me forever to use this particular pen, so I have to go slow. It kind of forces me to go slow. Very good, AJ. I'm just kind of showing anybody who might be wanting to check their work along the way. All right. Anybody want to tell me how do I figure out where to put my decimal point? Anybody remember? Oh, actually, AJ, you were just one off with your decimal point. Here's how you will look. In your problem, so this is the problem, 12.5 times 88, there's one digit after the decimal. So there should be one digit after the decimal in your answer. So that's how you'll know where to go and stick it in there. So switch back to blue. We have 100n equals 1100. All right, now to get rid of this 100 and just make it say n equals, so your answer will divide again. Quick little fun trick for you. If they share zeros like this when you're dividing, you can just get rid of them and it's way easier. What is 11 divided by 1? 11. Very good. So going back to our problem, what is 12.5% of 88? Oh, it's 11. Awesome. Okay. All right. So I have that linked for you. It's this one right here. I have it linked for you on your agenda. So if you want to go and practice a little bit more, that would be great. This is also, if you need to learn maybe a little bit more about percentages, you can go ahead and watch this video. We might do this in the future, though, just so I don't overwhelm you all in one day. All right. So are there any questions on what we did today? Do you guys want to do one of these examples? Sorry, I just did the ones on iExcel Math, but we could do one of our food examples. we could figure out what 5 grams is, what the percentage is of 19. Let's just do one. Let's figure out what percentage of saturated fat is 5 grams of 19. Let's just go to our little thing and get a blank. Okay, so why does it always go to arrow? All right. Here's our total. We had 19. 5 of it is saturated. Anybody want to tell me how am I going to set up this proportion? Tyler V, you've got some answers. So how did you set up your problem? Oh,
I just divided 5 into 19 as many times as possible.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that would be one way. What we don't know is the percentage. So what we do know is that we have 5 grams out of 19, and we don't know what percentage that is. So let's do some cross multiplication. We want to know what percentage is 5 grams out of 19. All right, so we have 19x. So this is a little bit different, set up just a little bit different. Times, and oh, this one's easy, times 5 or equals 500. All right, so now go ahead and do the division. So I'll just keep writing this for you. Okay, so put 500 underneath the house and go for it. I'll start showing it on the screen. Okay, hopefully you guys are following. Oops, did not mean to do that. Following along or working it out with me at the same time. Okay, I'm going to guess 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. I'm going to guess 6. Oops. So I'm showing it on the screen and you are working it out at your house. Okay. If we want to get real technical, we could add some zeros and kind of keep going with it. Hopefully I haven't lost anybody with my long division. You could just keep going on forever, but I'm kind of out of space here. All right, so and this would be a good enough place to stop. You can see that if I'm talking about 5 grams being saturated out of 19 total, that is 26.3% of whatever food that is saturated fat, okay? 26.3% would be the 5 grams of saturated fat, so that's quite a bit. Make sense? Oh,
Yeah.
you guys are so quiet. Type a happy face into the chat. Indulge.
Okay.
All right, did you have a little bit of fun learning something new about percentages?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All All right. Well, you guys are funny. And remember, I have all of these linked for you on the agenda. So if you want to, you guys are group 2, so I'm showing it right here. All of those things that we just practiced, they're linked for you if you want to go back. If not, just remember to have your reading done for whichever reading group that you are in for Thursday's virtual classroom about the influenza. Okay. And Clara just asked in the chat, are we supposed to turn the pantry assignment in? And actually, Jaden was asking earlier to share some foods. Here's what I want you guys to do. If you can email it to me, great. If it's like too much trouble and you would have to like scan it in and take forever, then that's fine. Don't worry about it. I just didn't want to spend all day long entering 100 different types of foods. So I only took a couple examples. Okay. But I'm glad that you all did it and you were able to do some comparing. All right, friends, I will let you go for today. Have a really happy Monday. And yes, you could turn on your webcam and say goodbye if you want.
Bye.
Bye. Good work today.
Bye.
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 Bye.